Hello everyone, my name is Sachin Sharma. I'm working as a senior domain specialist in OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This is our second session on OCI Network Firewall, and in today's session, we are going to dig deep onto some more advanced features of OCI Network Firewall. In our last sessions, we have seen that how OCI Network Firewall can be deployed to monitor the traffic for intra-VCN, inter-VCN, from on-premises to OCI, from internet to OCI, that is basically east-west and north-south traffic, and how policies can be created. What are the features which are more advanced now on OCI Network Firewall? We are going to discuss. So let us move to the next slide. So these are the OCI Network Firewall features. Stateful rules we have already discussed in our last session. Second is IDS and IPS. We are going to discuss it today. Then URL and FQDN filtering we have discussed in our last session. These policy enforcement, which are very flexible with OCI Network Firewall, and these all are used to ensure that customer applications are safe and secure. Moving to the next slide. So this question actually came into my last session, that if we can create stateful rules with network security group and network security list, what is the major difference between OCI Network Firewall and network security list and groups on OCI? So network security lists and groups can create or can be used for stateful rules and stateless rules too for both IPv4 and IPv6 5-tuple security. Then it depends on source IP, destination IP, protocol, source port, and destination port. It is nothing but access control list for your subnet and your network interface card level. By default, everything is denied on these security lists and group. Deny rules cannot be created. So if you want to allow something, you need to allow it explicitly. When it comes to OCI Network Firewall, it has this feature. And yes, you can deny the traffic also. You can create deny rules also for your traffic. Apart from this, what we have already discussed in our last session, it is having an IDS and IPS engine powered by Palo Alto, and then it could control the inbound and outbound HTTPS traffic or HTTP traffic by using URL and FQDN filtering. Decryption profiles can be created for your inbound and outbound inspection of HTTPS traffics as a SSL forward proxy or inbound SSL inspection. These policies which you can create on OCI Network Firewall can be used to centrally manage all the traffic for intra, VCN from on-premises to OCI, north-south traffic from internet gateway, or other gateways like service gateways or net gateways. So these are the basic differences. These are the major differences, actually, I should tell, between the network security list and groups on OCI and using OCI Network Firewall. So OCI Network Firewall is not limited to stateful rules. It is a very high-end firewall, you can say, or a next-generation firewall which use IDS, IPS, and decryption profiles for SSL inbound and proxy, which will decrypt your HTTPS traffic to analyze it and centrally manage all the traffic between your VCNs or within the VCNs. Now going to the next slide, it says that it is having an intrusion detection and prevention system and can be used for TLS or SSL encrypted traffic. It is having an integrated IDS and IPS solution built with Palo Alto Networks threat analysis engine, which will identify the new threat signatures and detection mechanisms. It will prevent that particular traffic by using IPS mechanisms. For the known malwares, malicious URLs, spyware, command and control attacks. What is the use case of OCI Network Firewall? So OCI Network Firewall is to be able to apply intrusion detection and prevention controls to the traffic, which will include the traffic over SSL or TLS secure channels. And to do this next generation firewall, that is our OCI Network Firewall, must decrypt this SSL or TLS traffic. So you can actually decrypt the traffic by having decryption profiles created on OCI. You can analyze the traffic. After analyzing the traffic, you can use IDS for detections, and you can use IPS for prevention for that particular traffic. Then comes to the next slide, demo. So in our demo over here, what we are going to showcase is how to create a decryption profile for SSL inbound inspection and SSL forward proxy. The basic use case of forward proxy is if you are having OCI resources which are trying to reach the external servers, you can use OCI Network Firewall, which will act as man in the middle between your internet client, that is OCI resources, and outside external server. It will decrypt the traffic which is going from OCI to the external client, see whether the traffic is legitimate or not, and then send the traffic. This is the basic use case for forward proxy. Then comes the use case for your inbound inspection. Suppose you are running your web applications or applications on your resources on OCI, and you want to get that traffic which is coming from internet gateway or external client to OCI to be monitored, to be decrypted, and see whether it is legitimate or not. You can create a SSL inbound inspection for that. So there are two types of decryption profiles. One is SSL forward proxy, and the second one is SSL inbound inspection. I will show you in our demo that how you can get it created. So let us jump onto the demo now. And I hope you can see my OCI console screen over here. And let me show you on where you can find the OCI Network Firewall. I have shown you in the last session, but yes, I'll show you over here. On the hamburger sign, you need to go to identity and security, and you need to choose firewalls, that is network firewall over here. And here you can create your network firewall and attach a policy to that. So you need to create a policy to get it attached to the network firewalls. So first you need to go ahead and create a policy. We have already created a policy for our stateful policy, stateful firewall rules, in which I've shown you how to actually get that stateful rules in picture for our Windows and Linux compute instances to talk with each other when the traffic is coming from the internet or the traffic over dynamic routing gateway. Today I'm going to show you that yes, how decryption profiles can be created for the outbound connection from OCI to external servers, and for the inbound connection from external clients to OCI. So let us see in one of the policies, and I've created this one policy over here. When you see this policy, you can see the decryption profile section over here. Decryption profile. So I have already created a decryption profile for SSL forward proxy. What it says is, my network firewall is acting as a SSL forward proxy for the traffic leaving OCI resources to external clients. In the same way, you can actually create for inbound inspection for OCI resources as the servers for the traffic which is coming from the external clients. So let us see how you can add a decryption profile over here. So when you go ahead and create a decryption profile, you will get two options over here, SSL for proxy, and which will include the server certificate verification over here, which will have your option to check or uncheck the block expired certificate, untrusted issuer, unknown certificates. If you're having block certified timeout, certificate extensions, or auto include alternative name. For unsupported mode checks, you can check block unsupported version or block unsupported cipher. So when you create a SSL forward proxy decryption profile or block if no resources for the failure checks. When you create a decryption profile for SSL forward proxy, here it will be acting as a proxy server for the traffic which is going outside of OCI for the external servers. Or you can use it for SSL inbound inspection. When you check it for SSL inbound inspection, you are having two options to block unsupported version or block unsupported cipher. You can check or uncheck on the type of traffic you are expecting for your applications or web applications. So this decryption profile needs to be created. Then you need to create a map secret. So when you go ahead and create a map secret over here, this map secret will be created in a key vault. So where you can have a key vault in OCI. I'll show you over here and duplicate the screen. And I'll just stop my video over here. Yes. So here you need to create the map secret. And for your information that we have created a tutorial on how to create a decryption profile which can be used for SSL forward proxy or SSL inbound inspection. So this is our tutorial which says how to get it created. So I'll go to this tutorial also to make you understand if you are going to this particular page on how to create it. So you need to create a vault in OCI. So here when it comes to a vault in OCI, you need to create a vault over here. So when you go over here in the vault, in the security section, identity and security, here is the option of creating a vault. So first you need to create a vault. I have already created my key vault. And here I've created my key vault over here with my name. And then I need to create a key. Vault is created. Now I need to create a key. This secret contents must be in the following formats. So this particular key or certificate should be into this format, which you can easily see in my documentation over here. And it is publicly available, so you can go through it. And in the network firewall policy, after you have created this map secret, in the network firewall policy, you need to choose this map secret for type SSL forward proxy or SSL inbound inspection. We'll choose the vault created, choose the secret and the map secret over here while creating the firewall policy over here. Then I have already shown you how to create a decryption profile over here. After you have created a map secret, after you have created a decryption profile, you need to create a decryption rule for the traffic which you want to have inspected for inbound and outbound. For outbound, it is SSL forward proxy. For inbound, it is SSL inbound inspection. So let us see in our firewall policies over here. So when I create a map secret over here, it will ask for the map secret type, whether it is SSL inbound inspection or SSL forward proxy, whichever decryption profile you have created. And then we need to choose the vault where we have created our secret. Once you have created this map secret, you need to just add this map secret over here. This map secret is created for SSL forward proxy. You have created a decryption profile now, and I'll just show you an edit option that I have created it for the SSL forward proxy. Now, when you go to rules section over here, this is the first thing. This is the first rule, decryption rule, which will be coming into the picture, which will hit first when the traffic is hitting on the firewall. Before security rules, it will check the decryption rules. If it will not match the decryption rules, it will go and check the security rules after that. So what do you have in this decryption rule? So when you add a decryption rule over here, it will ask for you the source IP address, the IP address ranges which you have created. You can put it over here. We have many IP address ranges which we have created, or you can use any IP address, which is by default. For destination IP address, we have created many IP address ranges over here. You can choose them, or you can use any IP address. Rule action is to decrypt traffic with SSL inbound inspection. If you have created a decryption profile for inbound inspection, decrypt traffic with SSL forward proxy if you have created for forward proxy, or do not decrypt with particular traffic. You can create that decryption rule too. So you need to save the changes and your decryption rule will be created. So I've already created a decryption rule for my SSL forward proxy. That is from my Linux machine. If something is going out, it should be decrypted first. After the traffic hits, check that particular decryption rule. It will check that it needs to be decrypted and checked before sending it to the external server or for the incoming traffic for OCI. Then it will check the security rules. So this is basically on how to create a decryption firewall policy, a decryption profile, how to create a mapped secret into your key vault, and it can be used to analyze and decrypt the traffic which is hitting on the firewall for both inbound and outside of OCI. And this is one of the feature, which is the advanced feature of OCI Network Firewall. Yes, which you cannot get on OCI Network Security list or groups. Then comes IDS and IPS. So now the traffic has been examined, it's been decrypted and seen that the traffic is legitimate or not. Then it goes to the security rules over here. In security rules, suppose if I am managing my security rules, here I have created, if you just go to onto the list section, I have created a URL list over here. A URL list which says allow URL for star.oracle.com or www.facebook.com and deny URL for star.linkedin.com. Like in the same way, I have created my hub Windows machine over here. This hub Windows machine, I'm having an IS server running onto this. So I want to do an IDS detection services for my Windows machine IS web server, or I can for the inbound traffic for sure. For the HTTPS and both HTTP, and I've created HTTP, so I'll show you how to create it for HTTP. It can be created for HTTPS also. I have created for TCP 8443 over here, 443 port number and 80 port number over here. For my HTTP, I have used my port number 80. So when I go to rules over here, security rules, and manage security rules, and add security rule over here. So source IP address for the traffic which is coming for any of my web server or web application or any application on OCI resource. From outside, I'm going for any IP address. And for destination, I'm using my Windows machine because my applications are running on Windows machine. For protocol, I can use any protocol, yes, but I'm using HTTP for my IS server, web server. So I'll use port number 80. Same way you can use for HTTPS, port number 443. And you can choose the URL, allow URL. I have created some URLs, deny URLs, I've created some URLs. And I have a URL for my Windows machine with its IP. So I'll use that URL. Suppose it is allowed URL. In the rules section, I need to come here, whether I need to allow the traffic. I've already shown you in the last session, how to allow, drop traffic or reject that traffic. So in this session, we are talking about IDS and IPS. So you want to do an IDS, intrusion detection. or you want to do an IDS and IPS both, that's IDPS. So this intrusion prevention will detect the traffic and prevent the traffic by blocking it, and intrusion detection will only detect that particular traffic. So I have created an intrusion detection for my port number 80 HTTP IS web server site, and I have created like intrusion detection. And after creating these IDS and IPS rules, first, what I have created, first I have created my decryption rule. It will decrypt the traffic, HTTPS traffic, which is incoming or outgoing, okay? For SSL forward proxy, for outgoing from as OCI as a client and server as an external server, for incoming as OCI as a server and from an external client. This will decrypt the traffic, see whether it is legitimate or not. Then it will go to security rule and it will do IDS or IPS, whichever I have created the rule for. So here I will show you what policy I have created. This is the policy which I have attached to my network firewall. And this is my machine, that is this one. And I am running HTTP IS web server onto this. This is not HTTPS, this is HTTP, and this is to showcase you how that IDS is working over here. And even it is working or not, where you can see it, whether it is working or not. So it is detection which I have created. Let us see whether I can reach to this particular website. This is a simple IS homepage. Let me just go and see it, Command P. And yes, this homepage is opening for me. And let us see what we can see in the logs. So I have got the traffic generated from many parts of the world. And what I think yesterday, let us see where I can see the IDS traffic. That is detection summary of IDS. For decryption rule, count what? For decryption rule, first I've created decryption rule, right? So where you can see in the metrics that how many times your decryption rule is getting hit. Okay, that is the first thing. Now where you can see in the logs that what rule is coming into picture, that is IDS rule which I have created for my Windows machine. Okay, what is the rule which I have created? I have created this rule, that is intrusion detection. That is the first priority rule. And it says any IP address, if it is coming from my hub Windows machine, which I have just opened it over here, for TCP ATR 443, but it is coming on port number 80, allow incoming URL windows. And the action is intrusion detection. I could say allow, also I could say deny also over here. Okay, so I've allowed the traffic for my intrusion, but doing an IDS over here. And I'm able to access this web server over here. So where you can see this traffic onto the logging section. So when you go to the logging section on OCI, and how to go to the logging section, here network firewall, and when you click on the network firewall over here, network firewall policies, firewalls, network firewall, and when you click on the network firewall, this is my network firewall, and these are the logs, where you can see the logs actually for your IDS, IPS, allow, deny, security rules, or decryption rules. For decryption rule hit count, you need to create a matrix. I have created a decryption rule hit count matrix, which will look like this. Decryption rule hit count. So this decryption rule hit count will tell you on how many times your decryption rule which you have created has been hit for the incoming or outgoing traffic. So this is where you can see in the matrix where your decryption rule is getting hit for both the traffics. And when it comes to logs over here, this logging section, you can explore the logs. And yeah, I have taken the logs from 14th of April to April of 19th. You can still custom the logs to any date or any time in UTC to the end date. So yesterday I have got the traffic initiated for my IDS rule for my Windows machine. And let us see how it looks like. So I've allowed it, right? So it will allow the traffic, they are able to access. But the rule, which is this IDS is hitting for the IDS engine, it says me that the traffic is destined for my IP 192.168.2.13, and this should be the private IP of my Windows machine. Let us just check. And this is my private IP of my Windows machine. So yes, this log is legitimate. And when it comes to logging again, and then it is saying client to server. Perfect. It is coming on a Windows machine as a server from a client. And the device name is PAVM. And when I see what rule it is getting hit is allow Windows URL. That is my IDS rule. And source IP. It is showing 179. Where it is coming, it is saying Switzerland. And what type of spyware it is. So it is saying it is a spyware for IDS. And threat ID is suspicious HTTP evasion found. So on the basis of this IDS, I can prevent this system, I can log this system, I can drop this particular traffic. So this is how your IDS and IPS works on OCI Network Firewall. This is how you can use your decryption profiles for SSL inbound inspection and for SSL forward proxy. So these are the two major features which you can use to protect and secure our applications on OCI. Now this is a demo which is over. Now I'm going back to the presentation to showcase some more slides over here. And when it comes to the slides, and presentation. Yes, I believe you can see my slide now. So demo is over now. And then one more interesting question which came to my last session is how OCI Network Firewall and WAF are different, first of all, and can we use OCI Network Firewall and WAF together? So let us just go through it, that what is the exact work of OCI Network Firewall, right? So OCI Network Firewall, it will help secure network and application workloads. So it will enable policy-based visibility, control over applications, users, and content, including access control, SSL decryption, which we have just seen in our demo, threat prevention, which we have seen in our demo, URL filtering, which we have seen in our last demo, and IDS and IPS capabilities, definitely. OCI, on the other hand, OCI Web, it is primarily focused on layer 7, that is web application security, layer 7, HTTPS attacks. And when it comes to the vulnerabilities like SQL injection or other like OWASP's top 10 vulnerabilities or layer 7 DDoS attack, basically for your web application running on OCI, layer 7 security, OCI WAF is used. OCI Network Firewall will be for layer 4 basically for your applications, and yes, IDS and IPS for your web applications too. So when it comes to 3-tier architecture, so as a network architect, I would suggest you for your web applications, yes, you can use, you should use, or you can use on the type of application you are using OCI WAF. And from web applications to applications and from applications to database, you can use OCI Network Firewall for that particular layer. So basically a 3-tier architecture. For your web application, use OCI WAF. For your web application to applications and database, use OCI Network Firewall. And this should be the ideal secured architecture which you are looking for. So this is the basic difference between OCI Network Firewall and WAF, where they can be used. Whether it can be used together, will it be good to use together or not? With this, I am going to end this presentation of mine, and I hope all the questions on how network security lists and network security groups are differing from OCI Network Firewall features, why we should use OCI Network Firewall, and what is IDS, IPS, how it can be used, what are decryption profiles, how it can be created, and yes, I have already told you how decryption profiles can be created through our tutorial which we have published on Oracle website, and you can use that, create that, play with it, and why OCI plus WAF is a good architecture, good and secure architecture for your 3-tier applications, and where you can use OCI WAF and where you can use OCI Network Firewall. So with this, I will conclude my session, and yes, thank you for that.